Let me tell you the story of 3 friends working in the UK as care assistants and support workers, and how one of them got into trouble. Now, there are 3 care workers or support workers in the UK. The difference between the 3 of them is that the first person loves his job so much, he's passionate about it, he derives joy in caring for people, and he wouldn't trade that job for anything. The second person doesn't really like the job but had to do it anyways because that's the only way he could pay his bills, hoping to get something better soon. And then the third friend also got a job as a support worker but did it for 2 days and ran away because he couldn't cope with it. And guess what? One of these 2 people actually got into trouble for something that could have easily been avoided. The same reason he got into trouble is the same reason why some care workers or support workers get into trouble in the UK. And if you land yourself in trouble working in the UK as a care or support worker, you will not only lose your job, you might even find yourself in prison. So this is something that you don't wish for yourself or anybody around you. So that is why you should stick around with me to the end of this video where we'll dive into these cases in details. Trust me, you're definitely going to learn something from it. My name is Tochi. You're welcome to my channel. Please give this video a thumbs up if you get value. Kindly share it to everyone that benefits from me. To all my returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. You're welcome back to today's video, and if you're yet to subscribe, kindly do so because I share content around my life in the UK and everything good. So please consider sticking around with me. Now, before I continue, I'd love to introduce you all to the sponsors of today's video, LemFi. LemFi is a reliable app that you can use to send money to Africa for free. LemFi allows residents of the UK and Canada to send money to Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Benin, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda at 0 fees. There are no hidden charges, and they have the best rates that you can find in the market. You can ask around and you will get your complete value for money, okay? So guys, you can download the LemFi app with my referral link in the description box to get 15% cash back on your first transactions above £100, capped at £50. Alternatively, you can download the LemFi app directly from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and enter my code Tochi to benefit from this offer. I've been using LemFi for a while now, and I can tell you that it's very easy to use. You can easily navigate the app. It's very easy, it's secured, it's fast, and it's very safe. And then you are sure that the recipients will get the money immediately you send it. So please hurry now and download the LemFi app, and don't forget to use my code Tochi. So you see these 3 scenarios I painted earlier in this video. It's something that we see every day, something that most people can relate to. There are more, but I decided to stick with these 3. Now, let me show you this case. I don't know if you have seen it, but if you've been following the news, you might have seen it. Certain care home workers jailed after inflicting horrific abuse on vulnerable adults. 3 carers who inflicted horrendous abuse on vulnerable adults in a London care home have been jailed for a minimum of 18 months. These are their names and their ages, and they committed their offences while employed as support workers at Grove House in Sutton, which provides residential care for service users with learning disabilities, mental illness, and complex needs. The court heard all 3 men sprayed water at one victim, locked him in a room, hit him, squeezed his genitals, dragged him, twisted his arms, and threw away his belongings for no reason. So they were also found guilty of abusing a second victim by insulting him, throwing water over him, not allowing him food or to spend his own money, attacking him, ripping or damaging his clothes and possessions, and pushing and irritating him so that he could not sleep. So the victims should have been able to trust and rely on these people because they're obviously taking care of them, but instead they were subjected to horrendous abuse with evidence of emotional and psychological mistreatment. So Nazareth was sentenced to 18 months behind bars, while both the other guys were sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. All 3 men lived in Sutton. So there are other cases like this I'm going to show you guys as well. So my point is, if you're working as a care worker, no matter what happens, please try, especially if you're a migrant, you have moved to this country to work, please be very careful. This job is one that is very, very delicate. That is why if you cannot do the job, please resign. Don't even try applying for it in the first place. Remember, I did a video here a long time ago with Cheese Space trying to highlight what this job is all about. People's lives are involved. Now, some residents might have dementia, they might have special needs, they might not even know what they are doing. So sometimes they might push you to the wall, right? But you have to to be very careful. At every point in time, report incidences if you have to. If anything happens, don't just let it slide. Don't say, oh no, it's nothing. Please always report to the superiors or report to appropriate authorities, because it's very, very important, and that might save you if something comes up. It will be that you actually reported this case and this was exactly what happened. Please don't fail to always write your reports at work. Now, yes, most jobs have its own risk. If you're working in a bank, it comes with its own risk, right? You know, money might go missing and they will investigate, and if you're found guilty, you might land into trouble. If you're working as an engineer, you might fall down. See, different jobs come with its own risk, yes, but this one has to do with human beings. Their lives at the point where you're working are entrusted in your hands, so you will be responsible for whatever happens to them at the time when you're working. So this is how important this job is. So if anything happens at the time while you are working to these people, you have to explain. And if they found out that whatever it is that happened to them was your fault, you will go in for it. And then you have to be careful with the way you hold them, the way you touch them, the way you react to things. If they hold your hair, you have to be careful about how you react. If they abuse you, you have to be careful about the way you react. You don't have to abuse them back, because it is said that they don't know what they are doing at the time. It might be that a person is a dementia patient or special needs. The person basically don't know what he's doing. So you know better. They would have told you the pros and cons, everything that comes with the job. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to take it or not. And if you say you are taking up the job, you have signed your contract, you are binded by that contract. It's binding. So you have to stick with the rules and regulation of that workplace. So this is why you should not take this job lightly. You should also try and protect yourself as a migrant care worker, as anybody working in the UK, as a care worker, as a support worker, as a teacher. You're basically dealing with vulnerable people, children, right? Old people. You're dealing with vulnerable people. You have to learn to protect yourself. Join a union if you have to, because they will also help, protecting your workplace and all of that. It's very, very important that you join a union. We have also had cases of people who were wrongly accused at work. It happens, right? So I'm not ruling out that fact. It happens. But then try and protect yourself and watch your back while at work. And then again, if a resident gives you money, please, you don't have to collect it, because I've also heard a story of a resident that gave somebody money and he came out to say the person stole his money. He accused the person of stealing his money. At that point, it was the carer's word against the resident's word. But thankfully, he had the money and he said, she was the one who gave me this money. I was on my own and she gave it to me. I said, oh, you can have it, right? And he returned the money, and that was how the case was closed. Some of them can even accuse you of hitting them, even when you didn't do it. Right, a friend told me about that a resident accused her of hitting her, but thankfully other people were there and saw what happened, and that was how she was also exonerated. So these things are true, but you have to find a way to protect yourself at all times, and you have to be careful. Do your job diligently. Don't try to abuse anybody. They might step on your toes, they might do some things that you don't like, but just see that they don't know what they are doing, and always report every incident. Is very, very important. This is also another case, very recent, if I must say. A Devon care home worker who was caught abusing a 94-year-old resident with dementia has been sentenced to 12 months after admitting ill treatment. So the offense came to light after Victor Hart's family installed a camera in his bedroom, and Gino Saji, 26 of Exeter, was seen lifting Mr. Hart's leg in the air while he shouted for him to stop. Right? If this is true, nobody deserves to be treated this way at all. No human being deserves to go through this. A 96-year-old, that's a lot. That's on the extreme. So Judge David Evans said there was desperate infliction of pain on someone who was helpless. He said, throughout, you ignored Mr. Hart's loud and distressing cries of pain. You displayed cruel unconcern. This was deliberate harm, which was wholly unnecessary. It was repeated and prolonged ill treatment, which was akin to an assault. It is clear from the recording that Mr. Hart suffered significant pain over a prolonged period. Officers said after the case that 3 other care workers who were employed by an agency had received police cautions for ill treatment or neglect by a care worker. The family had installed a camera in July 2023 after they noticed bruises bruises on the victim's legs, said police. Mr. Hart, who was partially sighted and had limited physical mobility, had been handled thoroughly and had been treated with a lack of dignity and respect, according to the harrowing footage, police said. The police said that the victim had been failed by someone charged with their care. So basically, you're supposed to be taking care of these people, but you have failed them, right? So she said that we feel today's sentencing suitably reflects the severity of the offense. Police also recognized the proactive action of the family in helping bring in the case to court. They said, we hope that they find some comfort by the fact that justice has been done. We have seen or heard cases of people sentenced to jail for doing things like this, either from stealing from residents or from abusing residents or for doing something that led to, residents' deaths and things like that. So this is the reason why everybody has to be careful, and please protect yourself. I just saw this and decided to share because I know that a lot of people moved to UK recently as care workers, and there are people who just want to work as care workers, like the first scenario I painted. You just want to work because that was the only job available for you. You just had to do something to pay your bills. See, if you don't like the job, please don't do it. There are some other jobs that you can get and you'll be fine. But if you love your job, you're passionate about care, you want to care for people, you want to help people, you love it, you want to do it, that's good. Do it, but still try to exercise a high level of care because it's very, very important. Okay? So yeah, guys, I just wanted to share. Have you had any incident like this in your workplace? Have you been accused of doing anything that you didn't do? Please feel free to share with us. Do you know somebody that have gotten themselves into trouble for doing things like this at their workplaces? Please share with us as well, because I know that a lot of people will be learning from this, right? This is something that affects us as migrants in the UK, and we have to continue talking about it, right? We have to create as much awareness as possible for people to understand the severity of this kind of job, what they're getting themselves into. Because I understand that I see people who want to apply as care workers. Canada just announced the pathway for care workers to move. People still want to move to the UK as care workers. Other countries are opening up, their care visa for people to move. So you have to understand what you're going into so that you don't go there and get into trouble, right? This job, you might see it as a minor job. You might see it as, oh, it's not just a care worker, I'm just a carer. You're not just any carer, so you should understand that, okay? So please, at all times, always watch your back, protect yourself first, okay? It is very important. You have to stay safe for yourself and for your family. As a migrant, you have to keep yourself safe for your family that you have brought into the UK and for people back home that are depending on you as well, right? You don't want to get yourself into trouble for doing your job, because literally you're going to work to do your job, to take care of people, to put smiles on their faces. It's fulfilling sometimes just taking care of people and seeing them happy or something like that. You don't want to get into serious trouble for going to do your job or for going to look for money to take care of your family, right? So please note that this is not an immigration advice of any form. This is just for information and education purposes. If you need professional advice, please do well to seek a licensed immigration advisor. Okay, so yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've taken something home. Do well to share it to everybody you know that'll benefit from it. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.